Saints Row 3 was my first Saints Row game. It was never 2. It was Saints Row the Third. And because it was Saints Row the Third, it was one of those times where I just didn't even know what they were. I didn't know what Saints Row was. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know anything past it. I just thought it was interesting. I heard about it. At some point I heard about it. And then I started to go, maybe I will like this. And as it turns out, I ended up really, really liking it. And then after that, I played Saints Row 2. And that was when I got my PlayStation Now account. And to say that the jarring differences between 2 and 3 are like, it's night and day. But what edges 2 out more than 3 to me is the story. It's definitely the story. The story of Saints Row 2 is wonderful. Very, very good. The characters were great. The interactions were great. The cutscenes were great. The stakes that were raised. There was some little humor in there every now and again, but everything other than that, even the little bits of humor we got in the second game. The third game just upped the humor up even more, and it wasn't as serious, and there wasn't many stakes involved that you really felt like, okay, the Saints are in trouble right now. Like, in Saints Row the Third, you never really got that sense. You never really felt like they were in any immediate danger, because it was always a situation where, yeah, they'll get themselves out of it. Oh, for sure, they'll get themselves out of it. But in Saints Row the Third, could you really say after the bridge incident, it was RPG sending them into the river, blowing half the bridge up, the Stillwater Bridge? I think that was the only serious moment in the whole game, other than just a few little minor things. But other than that, other than the very beginning of the game, when they get blown up into the river, I think that was it. And even when Kiki dies from Killbane, even then it's not as serious as it could have been. It could have been much worse. It could have been a lot more fleshed out, but it never was. But then you look at Saints Row 2 and think about everything that you got. You got the Sons of Samdi and how they were messing with Shaundi a lot. You had the Brotherhood, and don't even get me started on Carlos, on what they did to him. Like, you want to talk about a serious storyline? You want to talk about serious moments in the Saints Row 2? That is one of the most serious and gut-wrenching moments in the whole franchise, is what happens to Carlos and what you're forced to do afterward. The Ronin, what happens with the Ronin and killing Johnny Gat's wife in front of you and him, and you could do nothing about it until you ended up, you had to save Gat technically twice in the game. Once when you busted him out of the courtroom, which wasn't that serious. And it's funny because when you think about that scene, you get two cutscenes with Gat in that sense of a rescue sense. One of which is at the beginning of the game when you had to save him out of the courtroom, and that was a funny one because of what the puns that happened at the beginning when you bust into the courtroom. The second time, though, is when Gat is in the hospital and you have to rescue him out of the hospital from the Ronin who are trying to go after him. And that's serious. That's a serious moment. And it's funny how in both those situations, you're still saving Gat. You're still technically saving Gat, but it's two completely different tones. And that is exactly what the definition of this franchise is. This franchise is about gangs. It is about, togetherness. It is about that wacky, funny humor. It's all those mixed into one. And somewhere along the way, that was lost.